She was humiliated by her own family for marrying a simple truck driver. But no one imagined that this man was hiding a secret capable of destroying fortunes, saving billion-dollar companies, and putting her life at risk. He was not who he claimed to be, and when the truth came out, a dangerous enemy knocked on their door, willing to do anything for revenge. Today, you will learn the complete story of Helena, the woman who was scorned by everyone, until she discovered she married the most feared man in Orion. Prepare yourself, because this story will give you goosebumps from start to finish. Helena Duarte always believed that love had the power to defy anything, until she discovered that love could also be the reason for all the attacks. It was her wedding. The bells of the small church atop the hill rang softly, while white flowers decorated each pew and the scent of jasmine filled the air. Everything seemed perfect, until Helena noticed the disapproving glances. "What a waste," someone whispered in the back. "Marrying a man like that?" another voice murmured. The bride swallowed hard, trying to keep her smile. She knew the marriage wouldn't have her family's approval, but she never imagined the contempt would be so explicit. She walked down the aisle alone. Her father had refused to accompany her. He said he would not give his arm for such a ridiculous choice. With each step she took, the truth hurt more. The groom, Caio Brandão, stood at the altar. His brown hair fell rebelliously over his forehead. His suit was simple, and his calloused hands betrayed someone who spent more time working than resting. He smiled, shy but genuine, and Helena felt her heart soften. It was for him that she was there, not for the others. But as she walked, the voices echoed. She could have married the judge's son, a trained architect, so intelligent. Look at the groom. He's just a truck driver. Helena closed her eyes for a second. These words were like splinters. Caio extended his hand, and she gripped his tightly. "Don't look at them," he whispered. "Look at me." She took a deep breath. At that moment, that was enough. But the Duarte family was not willing to make it easy. The bride's mother watched the scene as if witnessing a terrible accident. The older sister, Livia, didn't even try to hide her mocking laughter. The father, Renato, didn't deign to show up. The ceremony began, and the priest seemed more tense than the couple. When it was time for the vows, Helena felt the weight of all her family's expectations and chose to free herself from them. "Caio," her voice trembled, but soon steadied. "I choose you because you see me as no one else does. I choose you even against the world. And if the world doesn't understand, that's okay. The important thing is that I understand." Caio smiled, moved, and replied, "Helena, you gave me something I never thought I'd have, the feeling of being enough." The kiss was met with timid applause, some even forced. But for Helena, that moment was already a victory. Until the reception. The community hall where the party was held was simple, decorated with wildflowers. The food had been prepared by the neighbors, by Caio's aunts, by longtime friends, all humble but genuine. On Helena's family side, the atmosphere was like a funeral. "Is this the food?" Livia asked, raising an eyebrow. "Rice, pot roast, and salad? Doesn't even look like a decent wedding." Helena pretended not to hear. But Caio heard. He squeezed her hand under the table. "If you want to leave, we can," he murmured. "No, today is our day," she replied. While Caio's guests danced Faro with contagious joy, the Duartes watched everything as if on an anthropological expedition. At one point, Helena's mother approached her daughter. "You can still annul this," she whispered. "It's not too late." Helena felt her stomach turn. "Mom, please, Caio is my husband." "And a husband far beneath you," Livia added, taking a sip of cheap sparkling wine. "Do you know what they're saying? that you've gone crazy." Helena took a deep breath, trying to hold back tears. Kaio noticed, and for the first time, his eyes showed a glimmer of pain. "I can talk to them," he said, tugging at his collar, uncomfortable. "No," Helena replied. "They don't want to get to know you. They just want to hurt me." The party didn't last long. Many of the Duarte family left without saying goodbye, but Kaio's friends celebrated every minute. The house where they would live was 40 minutes from the city, in a simple but cozy neighborhood. A charming little house, painted light blue, with potted plants in every window. "I know it's not what you're used to," Kaio said, a little ashamed. Helena smiled. "It's exactly what I want." Their first night was peaceful, filled with whispered promises and tired laughter. She slept with the feeling that, for the first time, she had chosen something for herself. But in the following days, the phone calls started. They were always the same. Her mother: "Are you eating properly, my dear? This house doesn't seem safe. And this neighborhood? There are strange people here." Her father, in a cold tone: "When you realize your mistake, come home. I always said you didn't know how to choose." Her sister: "There's still time to start over without him." Helena tried to ignore it, but the pressure began to weigh on her. And meanwhile, Kaio became increasingly distant. Not distant from her, but too pensive. Sometimes he would disappear for hours, saying he needed to take care of things. He received calls that he answered outside. He kept documents in a locked drawer. Helena tried not to be suspicious, but there was something in the air, something she couldn't decipher. In the third week, she decided to ask, "Kaio, is there something you haven't told me?" He took a moment to answer. "Yes." His voice was low. "But I need time to explain. I don't want you to think I lied to you." "Then explain it to me." "I can't yet, but I swear none of this is about deceiving you. It's about protecting you." Protecting? The word kept spinning in her mind. A month after the wedding, while Helena was watering the plants on the balcony, a black car approached. And it wasn't just any car. It was an expensive model, very expensive. The kind Helena only saw in the city's wealthiest neighborhoods. Kaio left the house immediately, as if he had been expecting the visit. From inside the car, two men in suits emerged. Discreet ties, impeccable posture, analytical gaze. "Mr. Brandon," one of them said, "are you ready for tomorrow's meeting?" Kaio nodded. "Everything as agreed?" "Yes. The board is eager. Miss Helena is also an essential part of the announcement." Helena's eyes widened. "Me? What do you mean?" The men greeted her with exaggerated respect. One of them slightly bowed his head, almost like a reverence. "It will be a pleasure to meet you officially, Mrs. Brandon." Mrs. Brandon. Helena felt a shiver. The men got into the car and drove away, leaving a trail of mystery in the air. She turned to Kaio, incredulous. Who were they? Kaio ran a hand through his hair, nervous. "It is tomorrow you will know everything, but I need you to trust me today." Helena felt her heart race. "I need one thing," he said. "What?" "That tomorrow you wear something special, preferably something elegant. They will expect that." Helena let out a nervous laugh. "Kaio, you're scaring me." He approached, held her face, and whispered, "You will discover that you married a man you don't fully know, yet." Helena felt the world spin. What was Kaio hiding? Who were those men? And what was this board? The next day, while Kaio was out, Helena couldn't resist and began to look at the house with different eyes. That's when she noticed something that hadn't caught her attention before. A small built-in safe behind the wardrobe. She had never seen it. She never knew it existed. Her heart pounded. She shouldn't open it, but she had to. The safe was ajar, as if Kaio had left it that way by carelessness. Inside, there was only a black folder with a gold seal. She opened it. Inside were contracts with dollar signs she had never seen in her life, documents with logos of international companies, an ID badge with his name, Caio Brandon, Executive Director, photos of him in elegant meetings, always in a suit alongside important people, and a business card with a name Helena had heard and the news. "For reasons you'll understand today," he replied, not taking his hand off the steering wheel. Helena leaned back in the seat, feeling her heart sink. She married a man who drove a truck, who lived simply, whose hands were marked by hard labor, and now he was saying he was part of one of the country's most powerful companies? The silence in the car was so dense you could hear both their breaths. After another 20 minutes, Caio pulled into a large parking lot. But it wasn't for a shopping mall or a common business. It was for a convention center, but not just any. It was the most luxurious in the city. The building gleamed in glass and steel, with Orion flags and logos displayed at all entrances. Imported cars arrived constantly, and impeccably dressed men and women walked like high-ranking executives. When Caio parked, Helena remained motionless. I can't go in there," she whispered. "Yes, you can," Caio replied softly, "and you should. Today, you are part of my whole life, Helena, not just the half I chose to show you." She took a deep breath. Fear, doubt, anticipation all pulsed within her. Caio got out of the car and opened the door for her. "I promised to explain, and I will keep that promise." Helena put her feet on the ground, feeling as if she were stepping into a parallel universe, one where she definitely didn't belong. But Caio held her hand firm. And so they entered the building. The interior of the convention center was impressive. Polished marble floors, enormous chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, big screens displaying information about Orion Logistics and Transport Annual Executive Conference. People hurried past, all wearing silver badges that gleamed under the light. Helena tried to keep pace with Caio, but she was too distracted looking around. "Caio," she said softly, "these people look like they're out of a movie. What are we doing here?" He smiled sideways. "Working," he replied. "Working?" she almost choked. Caio stopped, turned to her, and carefully held her face. "Helena, I know you're scared, but trust me, I never wanted to lie or deceive you. I just needed to know that you loved me for who I am, not for what I appear to have." She sighed. "So today I find out who you really are? Today you find out who I really was and who I am now," he replied. As they started up the escalator, Helena noticed that some people recognized Caio. It wasn't casual recognition, it was respectful recognition. Some greeted him with a nod, others with formal handshakes, some with almost reverent smiles. "Mr. Brandon, welcome," a receptionist said. "The main auditorium is ready. The chairman of the board has already arrived." Helena's eyes widened. "Chairman of the board?" she repeated, almost inaudibly. Caio shrugged, as if it were routine. They passed through a wide, brightly lit corridor, and then arrived at the frosted glass doors marked with the Orion symbol. When they entered, Helena lost her breath. The auditorium was giant. Screens displayed graphs, maps, astronomical figures of international operations. There were over 100 executives seated, all conversing in low tones. A huge table positioned at the front had 8 chairs, evidently intended for the top brass. Upon seeing Caio, a woman with gray hair, a firm posture, and an intelligent gaze approached immediately. "Caio," she said, touching his shoulder, "finally, we thought you weren't coming." "I always come, Director," Caio replied respectfully. "I was resolving personal matters." The woman smiled as she looked at Helena. "Ah, this must be the famous Helena, I imagine." Helena froze. "Famous?" she stammered. "Caio talked a lot about you," the director said. "I'm Amelia, Orion's CFO." Amelia extended her hand. Helena shook it uncertainly. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Helena." Caio has always been very reserved, But when he loves someone, it shows. Helena blushed. Thank you. I don't even know what to say. Don't say anything. Just observe. Today, Kaio will show you a side of his life that few in the world know. Helena looked at her husband astonished. Kaio, who are you? He sighed. He held her hand and walked towards the stage. When Kaio stepped onto the stage, several executives stood up to greet him. Some made comments like, "Good to have you back, director. We missed you at the in-person meetings. Finally decided to show up at the annual event, huh? Director." The word echoed around her like a hammer blow. Helena sat in the second row, still trying to understand everything. Amelia, the CFO, approached her. "He didn't tell you anything, did he?" "Absolutely nothing," Helena replied, still dizzy. Typically Kaio, he never liked to show off what he achieved. Helena bit her lips. "But he drives a truck," Amelia chuckled softly. "He drives a truck because he likes it. Because he started as a driver. That's his world. He never forgot where he came from and never wanted to move away. But the world he built is this one." Helena felt a deep shiver. Then the lights dimmed. The president of Orion stepped onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, "welcome to our annual presentation. Today, we have a great honor, the return of Kaio Brandão, director and founder of our international logistics expansion projects." Helena's eyes widened. Director and founder? Kaio walked to the center of the stage and, to applause, began his presentation. And that's when everything changed. "I know many here expected me to fully assume the company's presidency," Kaio began. "But I decided to take a break these past few months. Personal reasons." He looked directly at Helena. "And very important reasons." A photo appeared on the big screen. It was a much younger Kaio, perhaps in his early 20s, wearing a truck driver's uniform, carrying boxes. "That's how I started," he explained. "A driver. No degree, no stability, no support. My parents passed away when I was 19. All I had left was an old truck and insurmountable debts." Helena felt her heart clench. He had never told her this. "I worked 18 hours a day," he continued. "I traveled all over the country. And everywhere I went, I saw the same problem. Large companies controlling the entire logistics chain, while small suppliers were crushed." He changed the slide. Now it was an operations spreadsheet. "So I created my own transport system. I started alone, then with 2 colleagues. And in 5 years, the small transport company I founded became a vital part of Orion." Helena felt her world spinning. "I was just the kid without a diploma, but with ideas, many ideas, and they worked." Another slide. Kaio receiving awards. "At 28, I was invited to join the board. At 30, I became operations director. And at 32, I helped create the international arm of Orion Logistics." Applause echoed. But Kaio continued. "And that's when I realized the bitterest truth. The higher I climbed, the more dangerous the world became." Helena swallowed hard. "I started to become a target of political, business, and even criminal interests. My life became headline news without me wanting it to. So I did something many thought unthinkable. I disappeared. I stopped appearing at events. I ran away from everything and went back to the road." The people in the auditorium already knew this story, but Helena didn't. "It was there on the road that I found peace. And it was there that I found Helena," Kaio said, looking at her. "I fell in love with her for who she was, not for what she might represent. And I wanted her to love me for who I appeared to be, not for the power I was hiding." Helena felt her eyes well up with tears. "But now," Kaio concluded, "the time has come to hide no more. Helena, my love, You deserve to know who you married. You deserve to know my whole life. And you deserve to decide if you want to be a part of it." The entire room began to applaud, but Helena couldn't move. Her husband was a simple former driver, yes, but also a logistical genius, a director of one of the country's largest companies, someone who had fled his own success. Everything made sense, and at the same time, nothing made sense. When the presentation ended, Kaio came down from the stage and walked over to her. "Now you know," he said. "Now it's your choice." Helena felt her hands tremble. I want to go home," she murmured. Kaio seemed hurt, but nodded. "Of course, let's go." The next day, the news exploded. Newspapers, websites, TV shows. Orion director appears alongside wife, secret marriage revealed. Leader of the decade's biggest logistics expansion was a disguised driver. Who is Helena Duarte, wife of Orion's invisible genius? Helena's phone didn't stop ringing. Her mother called, crying. "Helena, you married one of the most powerful men in Brazilian logistics, and you didn't say anything?" I didn't even know myself, Mom," she replied. "But do you have any idea what this means?" "For me? Not much," Helena retorted. "I'm still trying to understand." Deep down, her mother wanted to say something else. "You spent your life disappointing me, and now you surprise me this way." Her sister, Livia, called next. "Helena, you married an Orion director?" "Yeah. Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't know." "Do you have any idea who you're dealing with? This man is practically a legend in the industry." "Livia, I need peace, okay?" "Peace? Helena, this is every woman's dream." Helena hung up. Today, it seemed everyone wanted something from her, except Kaio. He stood in the kitchen, looking at her with a mix of fear and guilt. "You must hate me," he said. Helena took a deep breath. "No, I don't hate you, but I'm scared, very scared." He lowered his eyes. "I know, and I'm sorry for putting this pressure on you." She walked up to him. "Kaio, why did you hide from everyone?" He thought for a moment before answering. "Because when I was director Kaio Brandon, I was remembered for my position, for my wealth, for my impact. But when I was just Kaio, the driver, you were loved for who you were," Helena completed. He nodded. "I wanted you to see me that way." Helena held his hand. "I did, Kaio. That's why I'm here. But all of this new reality, it's much bigger than I imagined." "I know," he replied. "And if you want to leave, without guilt, I'll let you." Helena took a deep breath. "I don't want to leave, but I need time." He smiled with relief. "I'll give you all the time in the world." 2 days later, Kaio received a call. When he answered, his face changed completely. He turned pale, very serious. "Understood. I'm on my way." Helena approached. "Did something happen?" Kaio remained silent. "We need to talk," he murmured. "There's something about my past that you don't know yet, and it could jeopardize everything if we're not careful." Helena felt a chill down her spine. "What thing?" Kaio looked up, eyes that said more than he could utter. "Helena, yes, my success bothered a lot of people, and one of those people is back." Helena felt her chest tighten. "Who?" He breathed slowly, like someone preparing to reveal something dark. "The only man who tried to destroy everything I built, and who can destroy us both if I don't act fast." Helena took a step back. Her life was about to change once again. And now, there was an enemy. Helena watched Kaio, her heart racing. He took a deep breath, walked around the room as if weighing each word, and finally said, "Helena, his name is Elias Montenegro." She had never heard that name. but Caio reacted as if he were uttering a ghost's name. "Who is he?" Helena asked. Caio ran a hand through his hair, nervous. "When I was at my peak within Orion, Elias was the commercial director. Ambitious, brilliant, but without limits. He made illegal deals, embezzled funds, manipulated contracts. And when I discovered everything, I reported him." Helena's eyes widened. "You reported your own director?" "I had no choice. He was destroying small businesses to get rich. Businesses like mine before I grew." Caio breathed heavily. "Orion fired him, and he swore to me that one day I would pay. A day when I had something to lose." Helena felt her stomach turn. "And now, you do," she completed. "Now, I have you," Caio said, approaching. "And that's exactly what terrifies me." The doorbell rang before Helena could respond. Caio stiffened. "Stay here," he ordered, lowering his voice. "Don't open the door." Helena got up at the same time. "Caio, wait. It could be someone from your family or from the company." "Helena, please," he insisted. But it was too late. The doorbell rang again, this time louder. Caio went to the door, opened it just a crack, and his face went pale. On the other side was a tall, elegant man with impeccably combed black hair, a perfectly tailored dark suit, and a cold, sharp smile. "Long time no see, Caio," the man said, as if speaking to an old enemy. "I missed you in the halls of Orion." Helena held her breath. She knew, even before Caio said anything, this was Elias Montenegro, the enemy. "I didn't expect you here," Caio said, every muscle in his body taut. "I know you didn't," Elias replied, smiling like a snake. "That's why I came. We need to talk." His triumphant return stirred some chessboards, and I hate it when they mess with my game. Helena felt ice climb her spine. "Get out," Caio ordered, without fully opening the door. "Calm down, Caio. I came in peace, for now," Elias replied, looking at Helena over her husband's shoulder. "Ah, the wife. Helena, right?" Helena swallowed hard. "Don't leave the room," Caio murmured. Elias raised an eyebrow. "How rude. Aren't you going to introduce me?" Caio closed the door further. "If you have something to say it now." Elias adjusted his suit. "I just want a conversation. No scandals, no press, no interference from Orion. Let's say a negotiation." "We have nothing to negotiate," Caio growled. Elias sighed, as if speaking to a child. "Ah, Caio, you were always so impulsive, and so brilliant, and so easy to destroy." Helena squeezed Caio's arm. "Honey, let it go. Let's understand what he wants." Caio looked at her, worried. But he knew Elias wouldn't leave without being heard. 5 minutes, Caio said. "That's all." Elias smiled. "Great. I hope you have wine." Elias entered the house as if he owned it. He looked around, evaluating everything with critical eyes. How curious. A simple house. "It doesn't look like an Orion director's residence. But of course, you like to pretend to be humble, don't you, Caio?" Helena frowned. "My husband never pretended anything," she retorted. Elias chuckled softly. "Oh, darling, everyone pretends. Some pretend to be better. Others pretend to be less. Your husband has always been excellent at hiding." Caio clenched his fists. "Say what you want and leave." Elias crossed his legs on the sofa, relaxed, almost too comfortable. "I want you to resign." Helena felt her stomach drop. "Resign? From Orion?" she asked. "Exactly," Elias replied. "You've been absent for months. The company is used to operating without you. Your sudden return was problematic for some shareholders." "And by some shareholders, you mean yourself," Caio countered. Elias raised the glass of wine he had just poured for himself. "I am a man of vision, and you, Caio, have always been the obstacle in my path. Now that you're back, you threaten everything I'm about to reclaim." Helena felt her heart race. "Reclaim?" she asked. Elias smiled. my seat, my power. Orion only has room for one of us, and I didn't waste years of my life to be humiliated by you. Kaio took a step forward. I will not resign. Elias's smile vanished. What a pity. He slowly stood up, adjusted his suit, and walked towards Helena. Kaio immediately stepped in front, blocking him. One step closer to her, and I'll tear you apart. Elias raised his hands theatrically. Calm down, Kaio. I'm not violent, not directly. I just want to show that I can be useful, or very destructive. What does that mean? Helena asked. Elias tilted his head. That if Kaio doesn't resign, I will do what I've always done best. Crush those he loves to make him yield. The silence cut through the air like a blade. Helena shuddered. Kaio looked ready to lunge at him. Elias picked up his coat and walked to the door. Think carefully, Kaio. You can protect Helena from the press, the paparazzi, the pressures, but you can't protect her from me. He smiled one last time. I give you 48 hours. And he left. The door closed. Helena didn't know whether to cry, scream, or run away. Kaio collapsed onto the sofa, devastated. Kaio, Helena said, sitting beside him. Do you think he's serious? Helena, Kaio began, looking directly into her eyes. Elias doesn't threaten. He delivers. Helena swallowed hard. So, what are we going to do? Kaio took a deep breath. I will resign. The words scraped the air like thunder. What? Helena stood up. No, you worked your whole life for this, building all of this by yourself, with your ideas, with your courage. You can't throw it all away because of him. I'm not going to risk your safety, Kaio replied, his voice breaking. Kaio, I won't be the reason you destroy your career, she cried, tears welling in her eyes. You are the only thing that matters, he said, standing up too. I can live without money. I can live without a position. I can live without you. Helena felt the ground disappear beneath her. He would really give up everything for her? She held his face with both hands. Kaio, I love you. But you won't resign, not because of me, not because a man like Elias threatens our dreams. He swallowed hard. So, what do you suggest? She took a deep breath. We'll fight, together. Kaio stared at her for long seconds and finally smiled. Then, let's fight. In the following days, Kaio went into full strategy mode. He called allied directors, he gathered confidential documents, he made discreet visits. Helena accompanied him when she could, absorbing everything, learning who the true enemies were and who were the friends who wouldn't easily turn their backs. In 3 days, Helena already understood more about Orion's corporate universe than any journalist. But Elias was also making moves. Elite, Helena's sister, called crying. Helena, a reporter came here, asking about your life, about Kaio, about his past. Her mother called too. Daughter, newspapers published that your husband is involved in old accusations. Is that true? Helena realized immediately. Elias is pulling strings, Kaio said with growing anger. The war was no longer silent. It was personal, and Elias played dirty. But Kaio had an ace up his sleeve. Helena, what I'm about to show you, few people know. They went to an old warehouse in a shed rented by Kaio many years ago. At the back, there was a sealed metal box. Kaio opened it. Inside, there were pen drives, audit files, signed contracts, meeting recordings, and compelling evidence of all the frauds committed by Elias before he was expelled from Orion. Helena gasped. This could destroy his career. This could destroy the rest of his life, Kaio corrected. So, why did you never use it? Because I am not Elias. Helena placed her hand on her husband's shoulder. But perhaps it's time to stop being passive. Kaio sighed. You're right. The next morning, Kaio called an extraordinary meeting at Orion's headquarters. Executives, directors, lawyers, and Elias Montenegro, who arrived with his poisonous smile. So, have you come to resign? Elias asked, crossing his arms. Kaio stood before everyone. No, I came to reveal the truth. And he projected the documents from the metal box onto the screen, one by one. Adulterated contracts, evidence of bribery, million-dollar embezzlements, audio recordings where Elias confessed to manipulations. The silence in the hall was deadly, and then it exploded. Outraged directors, lawyers frantically taking notes, Orion's president with a face ablaze with anger, and Elias completely pale. "This is a coup," he shouted. "It's manipulation. These proofs are fake." But Kaio presented dates, signatures, authentications, and finally, a video where Elias clearly said, "I use Orion as I please. Nothing can bring me down." Elias collapsed in his chair. Security was called. He was led out screaming. The board voted right there, and unanimously, Elias was prohibited from entering any Orion premises, and a criminal case was opened the same day. Kaio was exhausted, but he won. And when he left the room, Helena ran to him and hugged him tightly. "I knew you could do it," she said, emotional. "I couldn't have done it without you," he replied. The news spread across the country. Elias Montenegro investigated for serial fraud. Orion director saves company from scandal. Wife of invisible genius plays crucial role in corporation's recovery. Now it wasn't Kaio who was in the spotlight. It was Helena, the woman who, before, had been despised for marrying just any driver. The whole world now saw her as intelligent, courageous, strategic, and an essential partner in an operation that saved billions. The Duarte family didn't know where to hide their shame. Their mother appeared at their house with a hastily made cake. "Daughter, I came to apologize." Livia arrived soon after with a basket of wines. "Helena, you are incredible. Sorry for everything." The father, Renato, didn't even know how to look at Kaio. "I was wrong about you," he finally said, "and I thank you for taking such good care of my daughter." Kaio shook his hand. "Now we are family, and family respects each other." Helena cried. It was what she always wanted. Months later, Helena and Kaio were on the porch of their simple house, the same one they chose together, even now being millionaires. "Love," Helena said, "you know the company wants you to move to Sao Paulo." "I know," Kaio replied, hugging her. "But I wanted to stay here." Kaio smiled. "And we will stay. I'll leave the presidency to others. I don't want luxury. I don't want a mansion. I want a simple life. I want the road. I want us too." Helena leaned her head on his shoulder. "Kaio, do you really not want to go back to your old life?" He laughed. "The only old life that interests me is the part about the road. The rest I leave for those who like to appear in newspapers. I prefer to wake up next to you, make coffee with you, and know that we are free." She smiled. "I think that's the greatest wealth of all." He hugged her tighter. "Helena, thank you for fighting by my side. Thank you for not running away when you saw who I really was. Thank you for loving me like no one ever has." She smiled, moved. "Thank you for being exactly who I needed, and for never trying to be more than that." The sun was setting behind the mountains. The breeze carried the smell of wet earth, and for the first time in months, Helena felt peace. That was their life, built with truth, rebuilt with courage, and protected by a love that no corporate power could destroy. It was the end of a war, and the beginning of everything that truly mattered. And so, after facing threats, revelations, powerful enemies, and challenges that almost destroyed their marriage, Helena and Caio finally found the peace they so desperately sought. A love born in simplicity and that resisted the weight of a world full of interests and secrets. But what about you? What would you have done in Helena's place? Stayed by Caio's side even after discovering the whole truth? Or would you have left when his past came knocking? Leave your opinion in the comments. I really want to know what you would do in this situation. And if you liked this story, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell, because that helps our work a lot and allows me to bring many other emotional stories like this one. Thanks for watching until the end. See you in the next story.